Hello guys, welcome to the channel once more. This is kind of an unusual video. It's about here I'm just showing you something real quick before I jump into the subject matter. Underneath the Mahindra Roxor, look carefully below the beam. You see right there, you can see the slave cylinder for the clutch mechanism. It's external. I believe it's just held there by two bolts. So if that fails, you take two bolts and out it pops. So this is a 1993 Ford Ranger that my friend Victor gave to me for free. He called me up and asked me, do you want a vehicle? I said yes, and he said, okay, I got this little pickup truck, come get it. So here is the pickup truck. The main problem that was wrong with it was the clutch mechanism was out. So I thought it was just a simple matter of air being in the system. I bled out the air and it worked for about maybe 20 miles. Soon as I went into town, used the clutch a couple of times, it was out. That's the parking brake right there. It's disconnected. I'll have to get it working again. So let's go inside. The interior is quite clean, so I thought this is quite a nice vehicle to just send it to the salvage yard. Still has the old school manual cranks on the window. Pretty nice interior for the age of the vehicle. I proceeded to change the engine oil. I used a synthetic for the change. Engine ran strong, very smooth. The transmission, while it worked, was okay. So no major problems apart from the clutch mechanism not working. I was able to narrow it down to the clutch slave cylinder. And lo and behold, for this particular vehicle, the clutch slave cylinder is internal. It's actually inside the transmission bell housing, which means that what you saw on the Mahindra Roxor at the beginning, held in place just by two bolts, if you have to do the same operation here, you have to drop the whole transmission. Granted, it's a smaller pickup truck, it's a compact pickup truck, but that's just such a world of hassle. And I'm sure many people in the past, when it got to that point, simply sent their pickup trucks to the crusher. Well, this is what I found. I was like, instead of just sending the vehicle to the crusher, I'll take a chance. So I got this bars hydraulic jack stop leak. So it's hydraulic jack oil with stop leak and conditioner. What did I have to lose? I mean, the pickup truck was free. I tried using .3 fluid, which is what is recommended for this system. And it worked just for a little bit and it failed. The jack hydraulic fluid with the stop leak is actually thicker than the normal hydraulic fluid that goes into the clutch mechanism. My reasoning behind it being that there should be some kind of conditioner that will help the O-rings in the clutch master and slave cylinder, swell up a little bit and then, get back to doing the work they're supposed to do and as they're supposed to do. So without further ado, I went ahead, poured the jack hydraulic fluid into the clutch reservoir, went underneath and I bled the system, the old school way. Got someone in the cab, they stepped on the clutch, held it to the floor, and I cracked open the bleed plug on the clutch slave mechanism. Did that a couple of times and I got quite a good amount of air out of the system. But the way you do the bleeding the old school way is you get somebody in the cab, they will step on the clutch, pump like 5 times, and then you will crack the bleed screw on the clutch slave mechanism, and it lets all the air out slowly. Then you tighten up the bleed screw, and then you get the person to pump another 5-10 times, and then you crack it open, and you could actually see the air coming out with pressure mixed with the old hydraulic fluid, which wasn't very effective at this point. So when I did all of that, I jumped in the vehicle. You can see here, I took it for a test drive. It drove pretty good. The clutch worked like it's supposed to. And this is a video when I just got the truck, when I used a fresh .3 brake and clutch fluid. And like I said, the system worked, but just for about a day, and it failed. All the fluid drained from the reservoir. I'm thinking it leaked at the oil seal of the brake slave cylinder. You can see initially there was quite a bit of dirt inside the reservoir, and a lot of air, purging the air there slowly by gravity. And this is such a weird mechanism, because for a part that is considered normal wear and tear part, like the clutch slave cylinder, it's already, by the 1990s, it was already well established that these parts fail with a certain regularity. For the life of me, I don't understand why they put this one inside the bell housing. This truck was already on its way to the crusher, and I'm so happy I took that last ditch effort to see if it was gonna work in case I used the hydraulic jack oil. You can see that's the brake, how it felt. I could push it with one finger. It had no pressure at all. And guys, just be careful. What I did is on the clutch mechanism. Please don't try to do this on your brake mechanism. On older vehicles, the clutch fluid would, it's the same hydraulic fluid that would be used for the clutch and the brake mechanism. This one is, I consider it non-critical. So please don't try to put this in your brake system, because you could step on the brake and lose all braking capability. That's what it looked like when I got the truck. The reservoir for the clutch mechanism was totally bone dry. And that's the cap. Specifies the DOT3.3 hydraulic fluid. So here we are underneath the vehicle. We're looking at the bell housing, and that's what it looks like looking from the bottom up. You have the main line coming from the reservoir, from the clutch master cylinder, and then there you have the little nozzle for the bleed screw just above it. And that's the screw you use a 5/16 open wrench, a 5/16 wrench to crack it open, and somebody can step on the clutch mechanism and you will be able to bleed the clutch. That should be a 5/16. And when you go to tighten it, please don't use excessive force. It's just a normal bleed screw. So everything else, of course, is internal, so you don't really see the clutch slave cylinder. So after everything is bled out, jump in the vehicle and try to drive. I think I'm still testing. Yep, I can go through all the gears without grinding, which means the clutch fully releases with the engine running. And you can see I can go ahead and start driving, no issues. And just a point of correction, this is the initial video when I replaced the .3 fluid. Later in the day, after I did this replacement, it failed, so I did a second. I gave it like 2 days, then I used the hydraulic jack fluid with the stop leak and conditioner, and that's what the key was, and that's what enabled me to have the clutch working without any issue. So far I have put about 20 miles of intense city driving, mixed driving, a little bit of highway and county roads, which go to about 55, multiple stops, starts, and it seems to be working very well. I haven't had any issues. Temperatures have also been quite low. We're trending towards into spring, so temperatures will get warmer, and I think the warmer temperatures will only help with the clutch slave cylinder to seal properly. Just testing there to make sure I can cycle through all the gears without grinding, and everything seems to work well. So again, this is what I used. Jack oil, it's from Abiezz Leaks, and it worked perfectly to save my clutch mechanism. Used it to totally replace the hydraulic fluid I had in the clutch system. And the way I bled it, I had someone in the cab. They stepped on the clutch. I released the pressure at the bleed plug at the bottom of the vehicle on the bell housing, and then I will tighten it up and they'll pump about 5 times and hold the pedal to the floor while I crack the bleed plug. I did that about 6-7 times, and most of the air is out. The clutch is still a little bit soft from what I would imagine it should be, but it works perfectly, and I do not grind any gears when I try to change the gears. Thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next video.